want to make sure I'm not nitpicking here, but when you said you were doing with the offense you had in the spring, I assume this means you're planning on carrying it over into the fall? That's
Yes.
the whole plan.
Yeah, that's the plan. The plan is, cut the first chord, then cut the second chord, then cut it all together. And so I said to him, fellas, I'm trying to do this. So we'll go spring to training camp to the season. And, what I'd like to be able to do, Tom, if, everything works out, is have Michael, calling the plays, with input from the offensive staff, and then with me interjecting, run it, play action, rather than sit there and say, here's what we're doing. That's what I'd like to do.
I assume at any time you think you know something you
Yeah,
might
but
go
I'm not counting on that having to be the case. I don't want to do this expecting failure. I'm doing this to better the program with confidence in my assistant coach and expecting success.
Is there any chance now that with that you may get a little more involved in the defense, and that you might, if you see something, throw it on your own?
I want to be more involved with the entire team. I think that's, I wouldn't say it's necessarily been an error, but going back to Pete's question from before, I think even if you have identified your greatest strength as being an offensive play caller, I don't think that necessarily in the long run puts you in a position to be the best head coach. And I think that, when you go 3-9 and you're not in a bowl game, then you're sitting at home saying, okay, how am I going to make things better? I don't think that you make drastic changes for no reason. I think you have to make changes with a plan for the future. And this is planning for now, as it heads on into the future.
Coach, one of the things you mentioned in the self-evaluation process, you felt you needed to be more approachable. Where did that evaluation come from? Did it come from the players? Did it come from?
Well, I talked to former players and current players, and I think the biggest issue, as I looked at this, is if you're playing freshmen and sophomores, it's not the same as when you're playing juniors and seniors. The maturity level of the players is not the same. So you can't take for granted that 18 and 19-year-olds are the same as 21 and 22-year-olds as far as how you can coach them in the maturity level. I never looked at it from that perspective before. But you think about it, a kid right out of high school is not the same as somebody who's been weathered for 4 years in a program. So therefore, as I said, look, if we're going to be playing these kids, and a lot of those freshmen and sophomores that you played last year are really only in the program for the second or third year, might have only played for 1 year. And I just felt that too many times when a guy makes a mistake, the only thing they're concerned about is getting yelled at, versus when you make a mistake, being concerned about letting your team down. So I'd like to move in the direction that if a guy made a mistake, he was more concerned that he was letting his teammates down than worrying about the fear of, is Weis going to yell at me? And with a kid, with the younger guys, too many times they play with that mentality. So what do? You get it so that they know you better, so if you yell at them, they know that it's not personal.
I'm curious how significant the surprise was on Haywood's face when you first broached the topic with him, or was it something that had built up in conversations leading up to it?
Well, at first, we were on the road recruiting when I first said that this is the direction I might be heading, and he was driving at the time, and I was concerned.